Hello and welcome back to Wine Reform. So today, I am very excited because I am going to be trying a wine on screen that was a gift from my aunt and my uncle, and I am super duper excited to crack this open because the bottle is so pretty. Perhaps I ought to reveal what it is. Dun, 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 dun. I think you can see. The first thing I noticed right away on this bottle was that, number one, it has a really deep punt, and that can only mean that they totally intended for this wine to be aged. And you know what? This wine is from years before I could drink. I am super excited to crack this open, but it's a beautiful bottle. The information has been printed on the bottle directly, and so that's it's a pretty expensive thing to do. And just looking at the foil on the top, it's beautiful. This bottle is a work of art. So, Robert Mondavi Winery, it was established in 1966. It is the number 5 winery in the world and the number 1 winery in North America. Now, they are at the heart of the Napa Valley in Oakville, California. Their vineyard is Tocallan, and they produce a lot of really extraordinary wines from those grapes. It is the densest vineyard in the Napa Valley, and so they really focus on bringing out the expression of that grape. Mondavi is really famous for his Fumé Blanc, which is his Sauvignon Blanc. He really took that grape, which in North America was not very nuanced. It was just kind of sweet and meh, and he really turned it into a wine worth trying. So from then on, he's just taken a lot of wines and really focused on the artistry of winemaking, beyond just the science of it. And I think that well, a lot of wine critics would agree that he's definitely taken winemaking and turned it into an art. The wine that I am trying today, it is Robert Mondavi's Maestro, and it is a red blend from 2014. It has been described as a Bordeaux-style blend. So a Bordeaux blend would be Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Petit Verdot, and Carmenere. So a Bordeaux-style blend, I'm expecting to have a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc come forward, and I'm expecting some plumminess maybe from Merlot. Carmenere and Petit Verdot, I'm not as familiar with their individual flavors since I haven't had a straight Petit Verdot or a straight Carmenere yet, but we'll see what we can pick out. So this wine is $50 a bottle. Let that sink in. And because it is $50 a bottle, I feel really underdressed, so I'm just gonna be a moment. Okay. Every damn time. Alright, I am back. I am changed, and I now feel like I have permission to open a $50 bottle of wine. These are the times that I wish I had learned those skills growing up. I was never part of the hair train, and it really shows. Okay, good enough. We are back. I am dressed. I feel like I am what Holly Golightly aspired to be at this very moment, and I am ready. I mentioned that this is a $50 bottle of wine, and so you're probably wondering, Alessandra, why are you drinking a $50 bottle of wine? Well, number one, it was gifted to me, and everything tastes better when it was a gift. And number two, I thought it would be really interesting to maybe see if I could taste the cost. In general, the cost of a wine is really determined by a number of factors. The quality, the growing methods and the winemaking methods, or the viticulture and the viniculture. Some winemaking methods are definitely a bit more expensive than others, and, well, if someone decided to use oak barrels instead of oak chips, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and it's going to show in your wine bottle. Not only that, but the labor. The cost of labor and the cost of materials. When you want a good wine, you want to get good winemakers. And you know what? You got to pay them for their time and for their effort. You want someone to pick the right grapes. You want to pay good farmers. You want to pay people what they deserve for the effort they're putting into making your product. So yeah, that's going to also be reflected in the price of your product. And of course the materials, that being the cost of maintaining a vineyard, maintaining a winery, paying for the bottles, paying for the labels, paying for the machinery that pumps the wine into the bottles, or the wine press to press the wine, the juice from the grapes. Like, so many things. The yield. How many grapes did you get out of that vineyard of yours? If you got a lot, well then you're gonna be able to make more wine, you can charge a little less for it. If you are more selective in your grapes, well then you're gonna have to charge more for the few that you were able to pick. The vintage. It is a fact that some years do better than others. And so you're probably thinking, this is completely ridiculous, what bogus nonsense. Well, think of it this way, it's a plant. You're starting with a plant. If one year your crop just got the right conditions, that's gonna be reflected in the grape, and so that vintage is gonna be better. And it doesn't just go for wine grapes, it goes for any crop. If you've ever, gone to the grocery store and maybe there's a particular produce item that you get when it's in season, some years it's just gonna taste better than others, and that just has to do with the growing conditions. There is also a matter of aesthetics. So the branding, some wineries just have a little bit more money to spend on marketing their wine to the audience they're looking for. And that will also be factored into the price of your wine. Not only that, but what's in fashion. It sounds completely silly. The classic example, the movie Sideways, Merlot was poo-pooed in that movie, and Pinot Noir was elevated. And so in wine sales that year, and a couple years after that, people saw the price of Merlot going down and the price of Pinot Noir coming up. And it was literally just a matter of what was in style. Thanks, Sideways. The age of the wine. If you're going to make a wine and sell it as soon as it's ready, you can charge a little less for it because you are getting a return on your investment right away. Whereas, like this 2014 wine, you're waiting a while before you're selling the product. You're waiting to have that return on investment. And I mean, just like when you put money in a bank and you don't touch it for a while, when you pull it back out, you get more. I guess the same logic would apply to the cost of an older wine if you've aged it long enough. There's also wine ratings. So if you've ever gone onto Wine Enthusiast or Wine Mag or Total Wine or anything of the sort, there are a lot of sommeliers and wine writers who will taste the wine and rate the wine. And so I believe it's out of 100. So the rating will also play into the cost of the wine. The higher the rating, the more expensive the wine is likely to be. This wine in particular got an 87, so it's pretty good. And then also the appellation. That being, where did the grapes come from? If it came from an older vineyard, it's gonna cost a little more because the vines have been there longer, the roots have dug deeper, the wine's gonna be more quality. And finally, taxes. A simple matter of what had to be paid in order to get the wine over to the seller who you bought it from. It's just economics. I didn't go to school for that, so I can't explain it as well as someone who did. But yeah, that also plays into the cost of the wine. Alright, so now that I have talked a little bit about why I'm tasting such an expensive wine, let's open it. So this is kind of cool, because it's only got the one lippy thing, one solid, like if I was gonna draw a cartoon wine bottle, this would be it. Hello, corkscrew, my old friend. I need your assistance. Wow, look at how thick, look at how thick that bottle is. That is definitely like the smoothest natural cork I have ever felt. I swear, if I knock over $50 a wine, I might have to hit myself. We're gonna evaluate this wine. I'm so excited. Obviously, wine critics have already reviewed it, but I haven't, so... Okay, I really need to get a serviette because I keep leaving a little wine dribble and that ain't cute. The first thing we do when we look at a wine... First thing we do when we are evaluating a wine is we look at it, and right off the bat, I mean, wow. So I would describe this wine as sort of garnet. It has a medium intensity. Impeccable job on the clarification or the fining of this wine, because I gotta say, there is nothing in here, and I made sure to polish my glass so that I could get a proper evaluation. This wine is gorgeous. Let's give it a whiff and a sniff. The first thing I smell, it's already really intense. It's a bit like cranberry and red currant and cherries. And then there's a second level of aroma that I'm getting, which is the bitter green. Usually when I think of bitter green, I think of arugula, and it smells like that. And then the third level, I'm getting a tad bit of what I would describe as maybe tobacco, and then a hint of vanilla. It's a really impressive array of aromas to get out of one wine. All right, Mondavi, I see you. I mean, like, not that you needed my validation, but I'm giving it to you anyway. So I guess now I get to taste it. After doing a little palate evaluation, I have got some really interesting findings. Right off the bat, I did get that cranberry fruitiness that I got before, because it is fruity, but at the same time, it's a bit more astringent. I got green pepper out of it. I was also able to get the flavor of vanilla. This was what fascinated me. I got a faint sort of hint of iron. It had a very long finish. The fact that the flavor of the cranberry, especially that fruitiness, did linger on my palate for so long. I would say that's really good quality. It had very high alcohol, my mouth got very warm, and it did make me salivate quite a bit, so I'd call that high acidity. Oh, the tannin. I would say for a red wine, this is very lightly tannic, and the tannins kind of felt a bit chalky on the gums and the tongue. The wine is also very dry. Honestly, this wine makes me feel bougier than I will ever be. But you know, there's something supremely satisfying about pretending to be something you're not, even if it's just for a little bit. Maybe that's why people like acting. Yeah, this wine makes me feel like I should be planning a big event or maybe closing a business deal. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Wine Reform. It has been an absolute blast, as usual, to get to try wines and share them with you guys. So definitely like, subscribe, and tell me about a time that you got to drink a really expensive wine, or you got to experience something far bougier than you thought you deserved. I want to hear about it. It's always fun. With that being said, I am going to go share this wine because it is honestly such a treat. I don't want to drink it alone. And I look forward to seeing you guys all in the next week. So, bye-bye.